Welcome to the SMB Community Podcast with hosts Amy Babinchak, James Kernan, and Carl Polachek. Produced by Kernan Consulting and for the international MSP community. We are dedicated to making every IT professional a successful IT professional. Hey, be sure to join us in Newport Beach, sunny Newport Beach, California, on December 7th and 8th. That's the upcoming Mastermind Live Roadshow for Q4. So if you're interested in growing your business, learning more about sales, learning more about marketing, learning more about culture, leadership, EOS, mergers, acquisitions, we've got some great speakers lined up for you. And you'll also hear, one of the most important parts is we have several very successful MSPs from all around North America that come and present at these, and they talk about what's working for them, what's working and what's not working. And it's a great learning environment on that first day on the 7th. And then we've got also great speakers lined up like myself, one of my favorite speakers. I'll be talking about sales process. We've got a marketing workshop from Charlene Ignacio. And then we've got EOS, we've got leadership, we've got great things lined up. So, hey, be sure to sign up. And one important part, if you want the early bird discount, you need to sign up before the middle of November and use the coupon code early bird, and you'll get a $200 discount. The fee is only $99. So we're also arranging some fun activities. The $99 early bird fee does include breakfast and lunch on both Thursday and Friday. Typically, there's group activities in the evening, and we're looking into a harbor cruise on that Thursday. So it's going to be a great event. I hope to see everybody there. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the SMB Community Podcast. James Kernan here with Kernan Consulting, and I am joined with my good friend, Amy Babinchak. Hey, Amy, welcome back.
Hey, James, thanks for having me back. It's good to be back.
Yeah.
And I am jet lagged, though, gotta say. So just flew in last night from Australia. So, day is night, night is day right now.
Well, you jet setter. So, well, tell us, what have you been up to? I think you were speaking at a conference over there.
Yeah, so I spoke at the SMB IT Pros National Conference, and for those that don't know that group, it's a association of basically user groups that have chapters around the country.
Okay.
And then once a year they get together and do a national conference, and pretty nice one. They had 3 international speakers there, and it was a full 2 days plus evening activities, and they had a pre-day event. And so they put on a really great show. Awesome support by vendors they have down there too.
That's great. That's great. So what was your topic? What did you present on?
Well, I presented twice, and one of them was they had 3 tracks going at once. So anyway, the one session I did was showing everybody how to get started with Defender for Business in Microsoft Business Premium.
Yeah.
So it's a giant topic. I could probably easily teach a 6-week course on that. Just to show people how to get it set up and then how to use it. So, but I whipped through it in about 45 minutes and gave everybody the overview and the click here, do this, do that, and there's some materials available for them to download too to get all the details on it. But that was a fun thing. I always like to do those sort of hyper technical things. And then the other session I did was not technical at all. It was really about planning what's next in your life after you decide to exit.
Yeah.
And so it was really, quite a contrast in sessions, and it was fun to do. Carl Polachek and I actually did that second one together.
Okay.
And interestingly, we're sort of infamous for always disagreeing on everything and having different different ways of achieving the same goals. Um, but when it comes to actually, getting the life that you want,
Yeah.
we have actually very similar thoughts on how you should go about that and how we went about it. And actually just having thoughts about that is the thing that makes us similar, because so many people don't.
Right.
And both Carl and I have crafted our lives in the way that we wanted to lead them.
Yep.
Leaving lots of time for travel and fun, and while still having the business. And for us, it's both about work-life integration, right? We hear a
Yes.
lot about work-life balance, and I hear people wanting to cut off work. Like, I'm going to work, 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 and then I cut off work, and then I'm going to fun, fun, fun. And then the next day I work, 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 and then I cut off work at 5 p.m. And then I have fun, 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 right?
Right.
And for me, it's never been that way. It's always just sort of ebbed and flowed between,
Yeah.
work I have to do, and but always being sure to make sure to have fun. And I've always had this philosophy that I called retire a little bit every day.
Yeah. Yep.
And by that I just meant, go out and do something fun every day.
That's
Right.
that's that's fascinating. I'm going to put that down. That would be a great topic. I want to explore that a little bit more. We talk about that a lot in our mastermind community, and fortunately for many of the members, they're doing a lot better or have improved financially. And to me, growing your business, making money—that's the easy part. It's what you do with it,
Mhm.
and it's and then I like what you said about the work. Instead of work life balance, it's work life integration. They go together, and that's how I do it as well. To me, work is not work; it's fun, and I
Mhm.
love what I do, and I travel a lot. And my wife every year looks at my travel schedule and goes, "I'm going on this trip with you, and I'm going on this trip, and this trip, and this trip too." So it's kind of fun. And then we involve family, and
Mhm.
but anyway, that's a blessing to be able to do that. So that's great. So um, I'm going to put that down because I love that topic. I want to talk more about that. So, any other golden nuggets that you got out of anything noteworthy from the conference?
I try to always see what the theme is, right? And the theme is never what the conference organizer thinks it's going to be, right? By the theme, I'm always thinking about what's the chatter
Yeah,
amongst the attendees.
yeah,
What are they talking about? And um, there's a big push at the conference around cybersecurity. Of course, that's such a big
yeah,
topic everyone wants to talk about. But the hallway chatter that folks were talking about, it was all about AI, and how they're going to help their customers with AI, how they're going to use AI. It was all what are you know the topics of were always, what are you doing in AI? Have you tried this? Have you tried that? Have you found anything useful? That was like the whole chitter chatter around in the conference was all about AI.
right, right. Interesting, interesting. Well, that's great. That's great. Well, maybe we'll explore that some of those topics a little bit more next week. We had a plethora of questions come in, and I I was able to kind of pick and choose, but I'm going to save some of these because they're really good ones. Some people wanted to talk about how do you compensate salespeople, how do you compensate technical people, around commissions and bonus plans.
Hmm.
So we're going to save that for next time. But the question I grabbed, listen to this one. This was an amazing one. What can you do now to increase the value of your business before you sell? So what steps or what things can you be doing now? And it was a fascinating question because I do a lot of merger and acquisition consulting, and I talk about these things. There's things that you should be doing now, before it's too late, to
Hmm.
increase the value of your business is really the point.
But
I'll let
I had this conversation with a guy in Australia actually. He took me aside. He said, "Can I just get just a few minutes of your time to talk about selling my company.
Yeah.
And I said, sure. And he said, well, he's a small shop. It's just him and, some part-time people he uses, and he's in a small market. And we're going along and he's talking, about what his goals are for exiting. And, he doesn't have like a specific date in mind or anything, but he just knows that it's in his head, right? It's getting to be about that time.
Yeah.
And so he was telling me, and so I asked him about, tell me about the clients, right? What's the value you have in your business? He has no contracts. He's
Oh, wow.
billing his customers as like an MSP does,
Yeah.
but he doesn't have any contract with them. He
Wow.
said, well, they all used to be break fix clients, and then over time he's converted them into an MSP billing model.
Hmm.
And but he never entered any kind of contract with him. He said, "Oh, I just I've had him forever, and we just have that trust,
Yeah.
and haven't needed one." And I said, that's super great, but the new business owner doesn't have that trust. I mean, part
Right.
of what they're buying from you is that goodwill, but that goodwill is backed a little bit by those contracts.
Exactly. Exactly.
So yeah, so my advice to him was, if he doesn't have contracts, your business is going to be worth about 10% of what it should be worth. They're
Whoa.
only going to give you 10% on the dollar for clients you have that aren't under contract.
Yeah. Did you talk about, so obviously that's written agreements with their customers. Did they have any written agreements with their employees, like employee agreements? Did that even come up?
But we didn't talk about that. I was so
Hmm.
focused on the on the client side, and he
Yeah.
just has part-time folks. So um, so
Interesting.
I'm not sure how valuable the employees are as part-time people.
Okay.
Um, the clients are really the valuable part, but without those contracts you're not going to get much. So you
Yeah,
know
that's true.
thinking about adding value to your business, this guy's not alone. I talk to a lot of people that don't have contracts.
Yep.
It's because they're nervous about talking to their clients about the contract.
Right. Right.
He was afraid too, if he went around and started to ask for contracts, they would get tipped off that he was going to sell and go look for somebody else. And I said, I
Yeah.
don't think that's going to be a thing.
No.
They like you. They want you to be in business. They even want you to sell your business successfully.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it'll be fine, right? Go out, put together a contract. Even do 1 year contracts if that's just what makes you comfortable. Um, a lot of buyers like 3 year contracts, but in our industry, contracts are hard to enforce anyway.
Yeah.
So, but the existence of a contract is going to give the buyer that much more security that the income that you've made is the income that they're going to make.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what it's about.
Yeah. Yeah. Those written agreements are really important. And if you fall in the category that Amy is describing, know that that's probably one of the top 8 things I would say that you need in your business is a good agreement with all of your contractual clients, all of your regular clients. And if you need a template, I'm happy. I've got a real simple 2-page MSA, master service agreement, that you could use for your cloud business or managed service business for subscription services. Just email me at james@kernanconsulting.com and I'll send that MSA over to you for you to put your logo on it and customize it to what you do. But yeah, that's really important. Yeah, the other things I would say is there's so many things that go into this. I just kind of want to summarize 8 quick things. One, I think it's important to have a written business plan. If you're selling the business, people want to see a written business plan. Two, the big one for me was that written agreements, just like you said, Amy, but I would want them both with your customers and also with your employees, because I've seen Bad things happen. You acquire a company, you don't have employee agreements, and your top sales guy quits and steals all your customers, the day after you buy it. So I would want employee agreements.
So on the employee agreements, you're really not talking about employment agreements because the new firm is going to give employment agreements to your employees. But the important part of that agreement that you're talking about is really the non-compete
Yeah,
piece, right?
yeah, or I call it a non-solicitation,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
non-solicitation of customers and non-solicitation of employees. Non-compete is not really valid in many states, and it's hard to enforce unless you're an owner and you have a piece of the action. Then
Mhm.
you can do non-competes all day long, but that's so important. I've seen people get burned so often, and I'm in the Midwest, and you want to have handshake agreements and people are good natured, but I've seen good people make bad decisions when there's not written agreements in place. So that's important. Things like having unique assets in the business. What's your secret sauce? Clean accounting book. Clean records, clean financials is imperative.
That's a big one. So many firms don't have that.
Yeah,
Um, if there's well, we don't go into this business because we like finance. We go into this business because we like information technology.
right.
So, people treat their business as, they just run it like a checkbook.
Yep.
And what you have to realize is your books have to make sense to somebody else because
Hmm.
they're going to want to see them.
Yeah.
And so, things need to be broken down as to where your income is coming from and what the expenses are to provide those services. And it needs to be all broken out so that they can understand it. And then the other thing is you're going to need to run reports for them. So if you're not using QuickBooks, you need to start using it because it actually does have the best reporting.
Yeah.
And many businesses run in cash accounting, but buyers are usually going to want to see those reports in accrual accounting. Um, I've I've never not a fan of accrual accounting myself because I'm not a finance person. So for me, cash flow is always easier to see in cash accounting.
Yep. Yep.
Um, but buyers want to see your reports in accrual accounting, and QuickBooks makes it really easy to make that flip just to be able to run reports, but
Yeah.
still keep your own business owner's view of what everything looks like.
Yeah, accurate books are imperative, and then current books. You don't want to tell a potential buyer of like, oh, we're 6 months behind, or that's always a huge red flag. And a couple other things, the operations, I call it the business operations, or all the processes, the SOP Bible. You want as
Mhm.
many of those automated and documented as possible, written out. So you've got all your SOPs. A diverse customer base is another important one. Ideally, you don't want any single one client over 15% of your annual revenue. And if you do, that's okay, but you want to try to have it's worth more money if you have more of a diverse customer base and not one client, again, that is 50% of your business, for example, because that's
The
yeah.
thing that happens that folks don't realize is when the buyer looks at that one big client, which you probably value very, very highly, they value that very, very low.
Yeah.
In fact, I've seen them just cut that client off and look at the rest of the business and say, okay, what else do I have here? Like they're going to take that client that's 50% of your income and call it a big fat zero because
Yeah.
the risk of them losing that means that if they lose 50% of the value of your client base by losing one customer, that risk is so high they won't be able to make their payments for what they paid for your business.
Yep.
So that's why they're going to severely discount that, perhaps even as low as zero.
Yeah. That and then one last thing I'll say is people, your engineers, your help desk personnel, uh, even salespeople, they look at, they want to make sure you've got good people that makes the business worth more money. If they've got, technical certifications that they want, or real world experience, the longer they've been with you, the better. So having strong people is another huge asset in your business. And it's a great way to recruit and find people. Many of you are struggling with recruiting. We've talked a lot about that on the program. Where and how to find good quality people. With one small acquisition, you could hire a team of people and fix your problem real quick. So people's another important part, right?
Yeah, I would add one more thing to your list, and that is corporate identity.
Yeah.
Um, if the identity of your business is you, then that makes your business less valuable.
Mm-hmm.
If your customers think your business is just you, then they're going to be nervous when you go away.
Yeah.
If they think your business, if they associate the name of your business and the identity, reputation, culture, experience, value that they get with your business name rather than with an individual, it's going to be more valuable.
Right. Yep. I couldn't agree with you more. It's really important. And there's so many, I'm constantly correcting sentences of people that I talk to, small MSPs. I do this, I do that. And it's like, no, 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 no. Say we, you know, us, we speak as a team and look at the big picture. You want the identity of your business to be your business, not just you. And
Yeah, this is probably something that we should drill into sometime um, because that doesn't mean that you don't want your people to have the personal relationships with clients. You still want that,
right.
but you want the client to say, uh, Har- Harbor Computer Services always hires great people, and I have awesome relationships with their people, right? So instead, I don't, I would want that personal relationship to exist, but I don't want it to be attached to, to Amy. I
Right.
want it to be attached to that corporate name so that they know that when Harbor assigns them new technical people, they're always going to be awesome. Then it doesn't matter when the people switch out because the corporation carries that cachet of always doing great things for them.
Because in many cases, the business owner wants to leave. They don't want to stay there forever and just work for the man. They're used to being a business owner, calling their own shots, dictating their own agenda. Sometimes it makes sense to stay connected to I've seen that work very successfully for some people, but many cases the business owner leaves, and business brokers and buyers know that, and they don't want the identity tied to the person who's going to leave, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. All right. Well, we agree on the list. There's a bunch of other things that go into it. We don't have time to talk about that. Is there pending lawsuits or all sorts of things, market, geography, location. But those are some of the key things that Amy and I wanted to share. So there were some other questions. We don't have time to dig into it. I will say, kind of in the news, I am seeing there's obviously a lot of M&A activity. It's still constant, but I see the higher interest rates kind of adversely affecting the M&A activity, where it's maybe not so much. Buyers are I don't know, they're they're looking for different things now because the cost of money is higher. So I thought that was interesting. But and then one of the other questions that we don't have time to dig into is, what's my business worth? And that's again we talk a whole show about how to do business valuations and what goes into it. Some of the things Amy and I just talked about actually go into a scale, or a calculator that would help increase or decrease the value of your business. But there's no one true calculator. There's all sorts of methods, 3-year average and EBITDA, and some just do revenue and a percentage of revenue, and multipliers. There's all sorts of ways to value the business, but there's a million things that go into it. So
There are a million things that go into it. And I get asked this question all the time, right? Could you tell me what my business is worth? The answer is always no. Nobody can actually tell you that.
Right.
And you know, this thing about multiples, it gets very complicated. It's, you know, a multiple of what, right? And um, you know, I've dealt with probably a dozen different uh, firms that are consolidating MSPs, and they all have a slightly different way of making this calculation. They all call it EBITDA, but they all do it slightly differently.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, so what does that mean if you're the actual business owner? What's the value of my business? And the the quickest, easiest way to just get a ballpark, you know, and it is going to be just a ballpark thing. Look at your services revenue what you get in services revenue. Um, Forget about products you sell and forget about anything else. Just look at just raw products, just raw services revenue.
Mm-hmm.
That is going to be somewhere in the ballpark of what your business is actually worth,
Yeah.
because that's the high value item in your company, right? So if you don't have the other problems that we talked about with, you know, not having a corporate identity or not having contracts, and you don't have or you know, an outsized individual client. If you don't have any of those issues, look at that services number, approximately what your business is worth. If you
Yep.
just want to do look real quick.
Yep. That's good. That's good. All right. So let's jump over to, what else is, we're already into November. I can't believe how fast the year is going by. It seems like I say that every single month. They're flying by like a snap, unless you're sitting next to Amy on a flight back from Australia. That I think time probably stopped for you.
That flight is killer. I've
Yeah.
been to Australia 4 times now, and it never gets easier.
Yeah.
It is once all the flights leave out of Sydney, though, once you get yourself to Sydney, and I went from Melbourne to Sydney, so it's like an hour and a half flight from Melbourne to Sydney. But then, of course, you know, there's the layover time in Sydney before you get on your next flight.
Yeah.
And then Sydney to LA is like 14 or 14 and a half hours. And then I just, I hate flying into LA. I
Yeah.
just hate that airport. And of course, my flight was delayed leaving from LA to Detroit.
Oh,
And just, you know, more time on your journey like that is not what you want.
yeah.
And it was so hard.
So I was going to say, hopefully, you don't have any other international business plans, but a little birdie told me that you have some more international travel plans, but for fun. So,
I I do. I'm super excited. And I made this plan before I knew I was going to Australia. So I can't believe I'm going to the ends of the earth twice, so
yeah.
close together. But next month, I am going to Antarctica, strictly a personal trip.
Fun trip. Yeah.
And I'm super excited about it. That's going to be most of the month of December. So
Oh, boy.
um, yeah, I'm super stoked about that trip. So it's going to be a Viking cruise. So it's
Oh,
going to be a lot of fun.
oh, that's amazing. I can't wait to hear about that. So,
Yeah.
just in time for Christmas, you'll be in the snow for Christmas, it sounds like. So,
Yeah. It's going to be the Great Penguin Year. You know, one of the cool things I did in Australia was I spent a week in Tasmania, and they have penguins there, and so I got to see penguins in Tasmania, and then of course when we go to Antarctica, penguins are a big part of the appeal of going there as well. So I'm calling it the Big Penguin Year.
yeah. Wow. Wow. Well, I've got some travels coming up here. I'm excited. I had the last event I spoke at was in Scottsdale, Arizona, a few weeks ago, probably a month ago now. It's been a month ago, But my next, I think I've got two things coming up. I've got a mastermind event I'll speak at in Newport Beach, California, December 7th and 8th. Looking forward to that. Getting into sunny Southern California. That should be awesome. So if anybody's interested in checking that out, it's a 2-day event. Contact us. I'll drop in the show notes the early bird discount for that. And then there's a new event put on by Fornix Marketing. It's an MSSP sales and marketing event, 2-day event in Honolulu.
Ooh.
So I won't quite be in Australia, but I'll be en route, or at least headed the right direction. But looking forward to getting to Honolulu. January 17th and 18th is that conference. So I'll drop the link for anybody that's interested. Maybe you're already there on the islands or out on the West Coast. It's easy to get to, but I'm looking forward to that one.
So earlier you were telling me that your wife looks at your travel schedule and says, I'm going to this one, I'm going to that one. She picks and chooses what she wants to go.
Yes.
Let me guess, I bet she's going to Honolulu as one of her choices.
She is. She is, yeah. And actually, she'll be in California with me as well. So
nice.
Yes, she's going to be just as busy as I am. But yeah, I'm looking forward. I was just crying on Amy's shoulder. I've had knee surgery 3 weeks ago, so I've been on full crutches. I got another couple weeks of full crutches, so hopefully I'll be on the full mend before that December event. So I got plenty of time, and I'm looking forward. I feel like I'm a cooped up animal. I'm ready to jump on a plane and get somewhere. So
yeah, well, take care of that surgery, because knees are some of the toughest surgery around.
Yeah,
and it's all about the PT, which I know you're gonna rock that. So yeah, getting the flexibility back in your knee, that is critical.
Yeah, I've been doing that PT. That is important for sure. So awesome. Well, hey everybody. Well, thanks for tuning in and listening to Amy and I give everybody an update and walk through the MSP question of the day. If you've got a question of the day, or you need help in your business, any questions, anything that we can do for you, we'd love to hear from you. Just go to smbcommunitypodcast.com. You could drop a note up there, or just email me, and we'd love to hear from you. And again, like that, if you want a free MSA template for your business, send a request over to James at kernonconsulting.com, and happy to send that over to you. All right, gang. Well, that should be it for today. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time on the SMB Community Podcast. Thanks, everybody.